Let's Charge the Mound, powered by Teza. And we're going to look at some teams that are doing things and not doing things. So there was an article put out there by a couple people in The Athletic, Chad Jennings and Stephen Nesbitt, saying which MLB teams have filled their needs this offseason, which still have work to do. So they said teams who fulfilled needs. I'll read this out, okay? You guys let this marinate, and then I'll let you pick apart what you want. Teams who fulfilled needs: Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Yankees, Cardinals, Phillies. And obviously they have a great write-up, so check it out. Making progress: Braves, Royals, Tigers, Reds. Spinning tires: Red Sox, Padres, Mariners, Mets, Angels. Still salvageable: Cubs, Blue Jays, Giants. Pencils down. Which team or teams stand out to you on the list that I just mentioned here where you potentially really agree or really disagree? Who wants to go first? Raise your hand. AJ?
Well, first of all, teams who fulfilled needs: Cardinals. They got 3 pitchers, but they needed like top of the rotation guys. And Sonny Gray's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. Lance Lynn I love Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson. I love those guys. But they're not really top of the rotation guys at their age, are they?
Can I present a counter?
And I know what you're going to say. They're innings eaters, and they're going to give them more innings.
No. That's not what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Sonny Gray was a top 3 Cy Young finisher this past season.
Understood.
I'm just presenting that.
But they needed more than one of that, though.
Sure.
Right? And listen, Lance is great, and I love Lance. And Kyle Gibson gives you innings. They both give you innings, and they both take the ball, and I love them to death. But if you're the Cardinals, man, you need that splash signing for me to try to compete. Which was, I don't know, an Ohtani, maybe Montgomery, who they had, bring him back, something like that. A bigger name with a bigger contract to get people a little more excited. Because even if you talk to Cardinal fans now, they're not really that excited over even Sonny Gray, who again was pretty good last year.
Who's better, Sonny Gray or Jordan Montgomery? They both have their pros and cons. That's my point. I mean,
I know.
They looked at it and said we could get Sonny Gray for half the price, and they did. They got him for 3 years, $75. Jordan Montgomery's going to get like 6 years, $150.
And the other one making progress, the Braves. The Braves made a lot of progress.
Yeah,
did a lot of shit. How can they? I mean, teams have filled needs for me. They should be right there. They got a left fielder after losing Rosario. They got Chris Sale to fill their 4th spot in the rotation. Like I told Chris yesterday, you're the 4th starter, bro. And he was like, well, if I suck, people won't boo me or whatever. It's an awesome answer. But, I mean, to me, they did more than that. So, I don't know. I think maybe the Cardinals and the Braves should be flip-flop.
Okay. Top Father?
Dude, he took the words right out of my mouth. I was talking to Jesse earlier. I said, I need all the Braves signings. Those guys should be up there on progress made. The priorities they've done so far, first off with Ronaldo Lopez, that could be lightning in a bottle. He's a guy that might be a starter now. I think they got him for a good deal, and if not a starter, he's going to throw 100 in the bullpen. So that's one. I wrote a couple down. Jared Kelenic, I mean, he's a pretty good baseball player too as well. So the Braves, I think, should be up a little higher. I mean, they have a bunch of signs. And then Chris Sale, I mean, you never know what can happen with him. He might come out, hotter weather, come out and dominate like he always does. I'm looking for a big year from him. But I was definitely going to go on that Braves kick because they did a lot of signings and ones that we're going to look back on, as I said earlier, and we're going to be like, oh, shoot, they did sign this guy. What a great deal. So, yeah, I would go with the Braves being priorities met.
Red Sox and Mariners. Red Sox and Mariners, I get it. The trends say they're never going to spend all this stuff. It's still salvageable. They can still, if the Mariners add a Matt Chapman, for instance, to third base, now all of a sudden you have the big 3 up the middle, that starting rotation and elite left side defense. To me, that's still salvageable. Some people will say, well, they're not going to beat the Astros. They're not going to beat the Rangers.
They're also not going to sign Matt Chapman.
Do what?
They're also not going to sign Matt Chapman.
Okay. But
I mean, yeah, it's great.
Salvageable. Still salvageable. Like, the A's aren't on here anywhere. The A's aren't doing anything. We know that.
The White Sox are on there, and they signed a bunch of people.
They ain't doing anything. They got the Eric Kratz roster lined up, plus Martin Maldonado. But the Red Sox, same thing. It's salvageable. They can still do something. Are they going to? And I guess that's why they're in the spinning their tires area there. It's still salvageable. To me, if you think the Cubs can spend money, the Red Sox can spend that plus. And whether
Correct.
they're going to or not,
Agreed.
What
maybe
about
Craig
the
Breslow will
Giants?
do
They're
something.
still salvageable. They lost out on Otani. They've lost out on Yamamoto, Nobu. Lost out on Nobu. They lost out on Otani. They lost. Now the rumors are they're going to lose out on Imanaga. I mean, I know they signed the center fielder, right? Lee
Yes.
from Korea.
For big money.
For big money. But they I mean, going into the offseason, if you would have said, hey, the Giants are only going to get Lee.
Well, they got Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray helps, but what we found out yesterday is what's he going to pitch this year? The questionable about when he's going to be able to pitch this year.
Probably August is my guess.
It could be
nice
40
addition.
games out of the playoffs by August. I mean, but the Dodgers.
Keep in mind, there are a lot of free agents left.
Yeah, but which one of these fits on the Dodgers? I mean, on the Giants.
I think the Giants and Cubs are still going to be very active. I think they're going to be the
should be.
most active teams.
They need to be.
remaining.
Active or actually signing?
Signing, right. Not just offers. I think they are going to sign players. I think Blake Snell goes to either the Giants or the Yankees. I think San Francisco is going to be hot after Blake Snell.
Not the Angels.
Potentially hot after Jordan Montgomery, too. I'm not buying anything the Angels are selling right now. I think the Angels are going to be faking it and saying we're trying for guys, but they're not actually going to get them. I could see them actually going for someone like Imanaga, but I'm just not sure what's going on there now with Otani leaving. But for the Giants, there's still plenty to be done. Could they sign a Matt Chapman?
They could, but will they?
Yeah, well, where else do you have these guys
he
going?
wanna
That's
go
the
there.
problem with I'm looking at this list right now, right? Bellinger makes the most sense for the Cubs,
Correct.
right? I mean, 100%. Snell, Yankees he would look really good as a Yankee.
But so he would look good as a Giant, too. Here's
True.
the big board still available.
Jordan Montgomery's not going to New York. I don't care what anyone says. He's not.
I
gonna
agree.
go back. He's
I
not
agree.
going back there.
I think
Perhaps
he's
you're
going
doing better than I do.
Texas or
Which New York?
Chicago.
Nets or Yankees. He's definitely not going to the Yankees.
I'm busting.
Rangers or Cubs
Yeah,
for Montgomery.
Chapman is the one that to me you got to. Where does he fit?
Giants.
Mariners.
No.
The Mariners aren't spending
Kratz.
money.
Are you saying that just to fuck around, or
Yes.
are you being serious?
Hey, okay,
Yes.
well, let me ask you this:
The Mariners are capped. Anything they do, they might still do stuff, but it has to stay here. They can't add money.
Well, you know,
They're not
they can
allowed.
do it. They can
No.
stay here, but then they got to trade something to get it back down to where
Yeah.
they can make them. It's kind of like what the Padres are doing. Every time the Padres trade something, they sign some guy.
Right. Except
They
the Padres payroll is like 200-something million, and the Mariners payroll is 135.
True. Okay, so then, like, where does a Josh Hader fit?
A lot of places.
Okay,
Anywhere.
but what team has the money to
Everywhere.
buy him?
He fits with
Yankees.
the Yankees,
Okay,
the Dodgers,
but if the Yankees
Phillies,
sign
Red
him, they're
Sox,
not signing
the
someone
Rangers,
else.
the Phillies. I already got to 5 just off the top of my head.
Okay, but which team's going to spend the money though?
I think
All of them?
any of the teams I mentioned.
All of them? They're going to dish out a 5-year, $110 million contract.
Even the
though?
Cubs make sense potentially.
I
Go
agree.
back to council.
Here's my question. Who now, which owner now, because you're talking about the Angels, and I think of the Nats back in the day when they had every Boris client. Which owner now has the connection to Boris that's most like locked into that connection with Boris, just like it was with I'm blanking. I'm thinking is Lerner, the owner of the Nats. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was like he was always going over top of Rizzo or the other GM and signing directly with the owner. Who has that connection now? And could Snell sign a 7-year deal with the Nats kind of thing if there's still that connection? Because he could be that Jason Worth too early sign, and yet it brings more people in.
Hey, quit stealing my lines. I said that a couple weeks ago, and you guys all laughed in my face.
You said
No,
that about Snell?
I
loved
said
it.
that
I
about the
used it.
Nationals. I said, watch the Nationals to be sneaky and sign some dudes, and then all of a sudden, by the way, can we put the board back up? I had no one prediction that I'm going to get right.
Stop. I know what
Teoscar
you're doing.
Hernandez is going to sign with the Dodgers. So I'm going to say for about
That's so rude.
$23.5 million.
Deferred.
You're like Nostradamus.
That's right.
Yes, we'll
Notre
update
Dame.
it. Don't worry.
Notre Dameist.
All right, my last thing is about the Mets. I think they're making progress, even though it might not be the biggest names out there. I mean, Hauser, I love that guy. I know Kratzy, you love him too. I think he could be a dominant pitcher like he's been before. I mean, you got Luis Severino hoping and praying he can come back. That could be lightning in a bottle too. I guess that's my word of the day. That's my little saying, lightning in a bottle. But they got a few guys. I don't think. I think where they're at right now with spinning tires, I think they're making progress. That's where I would say the Mets are.
Hauser dominant?
No,
Yeah, what
I think he could be.
in AAA?
no, he's a
No,
good.
I mean,
he's a good
he's a-
five.
He's a good
solid
back of the
five.
rotation guy. He's an innings
Yeah.
guy.
Innings
He's not a
eater.
number one, but I still think he can be that guy you need. What 3, 4, 5 guy? Yeah.
Five.
He's the guy. He's the guy that I think everybody's looking for. That has like, you have your 3 starters. You're fitting him in behind those guys. He's a big league pitcher who's going to give you 5 to 6 innings of ground balls. He's not going to punch out the world, so he's never going to be that 2-3 guy.
Nothing wrong with that, though, right?
In the right stadium, I mean, I think ground balls play for sure.
No doubt. That's all.
Okay,
I was
and we'll
saying.
get to Imanaga in a few minutes with Kyle Glazer. Right before that, some news just coming in from Christina Di Nicola, who does a great job covering the Marlins. Rachel Balkovec has agreed to become the new Marlins Director of Player Development. We've had Rachel on. She's really smart, works her ass off, going to rise through the ranks. And what's interesting with Rachel is, so she was the first woman to be a full-time manager for a major league affiliated team. That was Tampa under the Yankees organization for the past couple years. She was also the first as a full-time hitting coach in an MLB organization before that. And my guess is she's probably the first female director of player development, is my guess, right?
Unless somebody else had
fair.
the same moniker.
Kim
Sometimes
Ng
those
had
names
would be the only one.
Right. It could be
Get
Kim.
interchanged.
So congratulations to her. And the one thing I want to point out is you're looking and you're going, okay, she was just a minor league manager. And so you might think she's on a manager track. She has been very clear publicly that she wants to be on a front office track. And this puts her in that realm. She felt like she wanted to, Kratz, get the experience of running a dugout at the minor league level and then transitioning into the player development job. So what do you think of the track that she's on in terms of a career path, the way that she's gathered the coaching and the minor league coaching experience and now can bring that into the front office world?
I love it. I think it lines up exactly what she said here on the show. She doesn't want to be a big league manager. She wants to be a general manager. And she keeps checking all the boxes off the things that she hasn't done or she wants to learn about. And it's awesome. And hopefully she can see, she sees how the Yankees were run. Now the Marlins have already had Gary Denbo running their player development and how that's going. Are they developing young players? I don't know. It's probably too soon to learn, but now she's going to learn how that interaction between big league club, minor league club, and also develop something. She's well on her way. And she is as much as like Sale was super honest and super like upfront about what he was going to say, she's the same way. She's like, not all women need to be in coaching just because you're a woman. You need to be qualified, and she's becoming more and more qualified.
Yeah, we need more straight shooters in our sport in general. So I give her a ton of credit. That's a great.
She keeps that.
I do too. It's a great hire by the Miami Marlins. Good job there by Peter Bendix and company running the front office now. Use the discount code FOUL, FOUL, for 20% off your first order at TizaEnergy.com. If you know anyone out there that dips, tell them to stop and get the nicotine-free, tobacco-free replacement. It's called Tiza. You can look up more information at TizaEnergy.com.